dangerous poop if I've ever seen one.
For years, we had our sights set on the Pan American Highway, and we were finally making the final preparations for shipping our truck to South America. But before doing that, we wanted to do one last trip in it, and the plan was to check off our last standing bucket list destinations in North America. We're just not fans of leaving with unfinished business, so to speak.
You can come this way.
So the idea was to circle up through Montana to finally drive the legendary Beartooth Highway and then head up into Canada. From there, we wanted to explore the Canadian Rockies and the Icefields Parkway area. Then we'd head west to the coast of BC to catch a ferry down to Vancouver Island, where we wanted to spend some time exploring. And then, for our last stop, we wanted to pop down into Washington and the North Cascades for some backpacking. We also saw the summer as a shakedown trip. This was going to be our longest trip done in the rig since our completion due to doing more travel away from the truck. We wanted to use this as an opportunity to make sure that we and the truck were ready to cast off the safety net of being in North America before ultimately starting this next chapter of our lives down in South America. But first, before doing any of that, we wanted to make one more stop in Yellowstone. There's just no place on earth quite like it.
Sorry, Boo, you just can't murder unfettered. I know. I just can't let you do that.
Yellowstone National Park is home to the world's greatest concentration of geysers, hot springs, mud pots, and steam vents due to being on top of a supervolcano that is 30 by 45 miles in size, which is equal parts terrifying and completely fascinating. All of those hydrothermal systems are just a visual representation, so to speak, of that massive volcano. And I think what's so cool about it is that they just crop up out of nowhere. One minute, you're in a subalpine forest, and then suddenly you're on the surface of the moon. In all of our travels, we've never found a place anything like it. All of the geothermal features have a whimsical and almost Dr. Seussian quality to them that just makes them feel otherworldly. The colors, the textures, and the personality of each of the over 10,000 thermal features seems to be completely different. And I think that's why we keep revisiting this area. We just want to experience as many of them as we can. I think everyone deserves to see the diversity of what nature is capable of in Yellowstone at least once in their lives.
Hi. We're hunting. Big pee-pee. Good job, Boo. I'm gonna cross the street.
Getting anything good?
Yeah, I just got a bison crossing the road, and that is not what is remarkable about it, but the people that were in the car that it was crossing in front of, it was so cute to see their reactions to what they were seeing. They were so stoked.
We've seen a lot of bison in different places over the years, but the herd in Yellowstone is the only place in the United States where bison have lived continuously since prehistoric times. And for that reason, seeing them there feels particularly special. When you can see bison that close, it almost gives you the feeling that you're in a zoo or some kind of controlled environment, but it's always really important to remember that those are wild animals. To that end, one of the days we were commuting across the valley when the herd moved into the road, and it ended up taking us over 2 hours to go what would otherwise take 20 minutes. We couldn't help but laugh because it was just a reminder that we are very much visiting them in their home, and thus we're on their time.
That's a picturesque poop if I've ever seen one.
One of our favorite things to do out on the road is to literally wander out from camp. Over the years, we've come to stumble on a lot of interesting things this way, a lot of which we would never find represented on a map.
Oh, what a view.
It's really satisfying to set off in a random direction simply because you're curious and to have the power to fill in those blanks.
There's a storm coming. Feel free to use my tracks.
Oh, here comes the rain.
The whole walls are entirely covered in tin from like old cans, it looks like. Some of them you can still read what they are. Got a bunk and everything.
Having now traveled full-time for 9 years, we've come to find that in all of our rigs, the first resource that we run out of is always water. Our preferred pace of life is really slow. We like to be able to sit still in remote places for a week or more at a time. And after a lot of research, we decided to pick up the Guzzle H2O water filtration and purification system to fill that need. Up until then, we had yet to be able to test it out in a real-world scenario, and being able to fill up our water tank from a wild water source in the middle of nowhere was a revelation. We are about to drive a road that we have wanted to drive for years, I think. The Beartooth Highway has long been on our list. We've heard from many people how incredibly beautiful it is, and we personally have a lot of favorite roads and drives in this country, and it just feels like we can't really say that we've driven around the American West until we've done the Beartooth Highway. And technically speaking, as of like 30 seconds ago, I think we're on it because we just passed the sign. So here we go. The Beartooth Highway starts in Red Lodge, Montana, where it dramatically climbs up and out of the valley, and then dips into Wyoming for a while before ultimately ending up at the northeast entrance of Yellowstone in Silvergate, Montana. The highway was officially opened in June of 1936, which feels impressive because it's one of the highest roads in the United States. Because of its elevation, the road receives an incredible amount of snow each year, which only allows it to be open for about 5 months a year from mid-May to mid-October. We were arriving on the early side of the season, and we're really intrigued to see what kind of conditions we'd be arriving in. And as silly as a drive through the mountains is, I don't know, there's so much history behind this drive, and it connects a very beautiful part of Montana. Just feel lucky to be able to do this, I think. So far, this road has not been what I was expecting. We climbed to almost 11,000 feet, and the terrain, unless you backpack, you kind of don't get the opportunity to see this kind of alpine terrain very often, which is very interesting. To get above alpine lakes like this on a road is very unique and very interesting. It's weird to be driving in an environment like this because normally we walk in. Thanks in large part to underlying geology, growing conditions provide settling of over 400 plant species: grizzlies, black bears, mountain goats, bighorn sheep, elk, moose, wolf.
Thanks for getting Boo untangled.
Grasshopper.
Oh, did you see that? He
No.
can jump, like, his legs are quite powerful, even though he's kind of like low to the ground. I think he can kind of like spring into action. Boo-boo.
Try our new light.
And you come back to me. I will lay my head down as the evening sets.
When you've had a destination that you've wanted to see for a long time, it's really easy to build those places up in your mind, almost to a degree that's unattainable.
I know for a fact the water is cold.
It's definitely something that we have been guilty of in the past. We both were feeling that the Beartooth Highway had still somehow managed to exceed our own expectations. And the fact that it took us so long to make it there, it just made seeing it for the first time feel deeply rewarding.
Whoa.
Something else that made that highway unique in our opinion is that there were countless hikes of varying difficulty that are starting in that high alpine terrain. You get immediate access to a place that typically is a hard to reach environment that takes thousands of feet of climbing over many, many miles to get to. The Beartooth Highway in turn gives people who otherwise couldn't reach an environment like that a way to enjoy and appreciate it.
Walking tamales. Peanut butter off the farm bar. That's what's for lunch. It's kind of like a push pop. Me gusta.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is really fun. These would be good for backpacking.
Oh, hi. Can you open your eyes? Oh, good stretch. Good.
When we first got on the road, I kept having this feeling. It's honestly hard to describe, but the best that I've been able to come up with is that every single day is being seared into my memory with a sense of permanence. I had never experienced anything like it before. And I think it's just that every experience was so vivid. I remember thinking, as I realized I was making these potent memories, that I hope I never lose that feeling. And after all of these years, I feel so lucky to say that that feeling is still very much alive and well.
Just saying, this place looks like it would have marmots. There's one now. Look at how low the ears are.